1083, 133. Jared Fowler is in the 2021 Challenger. A lot of these late model Mopars out here this time. I don't know if that would include the 2008 Chrysler 300C. 2008's a brand new car to me, but it's probably, in fact, old. That's Jeff Watt in the right-hand side, getting out way ahead of Jared Fowler. Once again, this is not side-by-side drag racing, but it's still sometimes interesting to watch. He goes 1095 at 123 miles an hour. Left-hand side, 1211 at 112.
5117. We know a guy who has one of the Challenger super stocks they built. Those things are going to be the big money cars in 20 years. They made virtually none of them. It was really weird. Like, they had some weird production delays, and then stuff happened, and they made very, very few of those cars.
That was an under-purchased car.
Yeah.
I think it was at a higher price point without a very clear delineation of what you got, and they made few.
The Chrysler 300C rolling on pretty hard down there. Going to knock the 2019 Challenger 1320 back into next week here. 1099.6, 125 for the sedan. 1215, 110 for Dean Bunting in the Challenger. Rich Hilly on one side and the Chrysler 300 on the other.
The Chrysler was in the Pro Street class earlier this week. And I'm like, what is going on here? That was an announcer call of, why does this thing belong to Pro Street? So they went and had a look at it and clearly moved him over to the correct class. This thing is quicker than you would expect it to be.
Yeah, especially if you're a guy that has a brand new Cadillac and you're watching this old Chrysler 300 dog walking on a racetrack. 11:01 and 123. At 11:56, 622.75 across the racetrack at a VP lane. Are closed. Here comes the shockingly quick Chrysler 300C that ran almost into the nines last time. This is Dave Studley on the other side in the 1979 Malibu. D lanes are open. Delta is open. Charlie, C lanes are closed. D lanes are open. 10:06, 134. And yes, we are going to extend our time somewhat today because of the fog. So the Monster Energy count holding strong at 26. For David Witt, we have made the call. The staging lanes are closed. They have been closed. You will not be allowed in. The all-wheel drive 300C, low 10-second car. Spots the Mustang half a second and then passes them in 330 feet. $11.85 at 118 for Witt as the 300 goes 11.05. So a low 11-second car at 124. And this surprisingly quick Chrysler 300 on the left. Somebody mentioned yesterday it looks like it was body swapped on a different chassis because of the way it sits. The reality is it only sits like that because there's a shorter diameter tire on this thing. Now, one thing that is kind of interesting is there are slicks on all four corners, and I'm wondering if this thing has been converted with an all-wheel drive setup that was offered in these cars in V6 models only.
They had cop cars that had the V8 and all-wheel drive.
Did they offer? Okay, I did not realize they offered cop cars that had V8 and all-wheel drive. So potentially, you're looking at cop parts underneath this thing, but it definitely has a racing-style tire on all four corners. And it leaves like it's got all-wheel drive. Josh Felix in the Pontiac goes through a 10:15, 135, and the 300 goes 11:20 at 123 miles an hour. That's a top 5 sleeper this year. And maybe even more sleepy than the Honda, only because that car is silent. The Honda makes enough noise that they can go, something might be going on here.
Yeah. Okay, on the left-hand side, we've been looking at this Chrysler 300C. It is all-wheel drive with a turbo. David Morahan on the right-hand side in the 68 Camaro 896. And there you go, your turbo Chrysler 300C, 1099 at 122.